So I'm getting raked over the coals by the Xbox community, and I like the conversation nonetheless. It's very interesting because, guys, I've made these videos before. I've made and actually expressed these comments before. And honestly, I'm looking out for what is going to, in my opinion, inevitably happen in the gaming industry as we continue to move forward. Now, Xbox fans, listen very carefully. I've said this before. I'm not against you. Some have even said that my position reeks of PlayStation fanboyism. You know that I'm mad at PlayStation, right? So why would I want to in any way give them an unnecessary, unfair advantage, even as a PlayStation fan? And I also mostly play on PC. So I've seen the proposition on all sides. And I can tell you that this is why I actually moved and stayed on PC for the longest time. However, I'm not really interested, as somebody said, in getting all your games. Like we already do. And plus, I even, for the sake of respecting the platform, I finally got myself my first Xbox with the Series X. And it's been a very interesting experience. Don't get me wrong. However, the marketing trends are showing that this industry has shifted so much that if you do not consider the ramifications of trying to in any way smell like the old school gaming, then you're in a sense behind what's going on. And you actually, if the companies carry out business as usual, they will put themselves at severe and significant risk. And severe and significant risk will still yield the same things that people fear if they do not move and be more flexible than they were in the past. What am I talking about? This audience member of mine said, your flippant attitude towards criticism against Xbox releasing games on other platforms is alarming and not at all humorous. No, it's humorous, and I have to say this, you say my flippant attitude. I've been talking about this from a very serious perspective. And what's humorous is when I actually first started pointing this out, it was with PlayStation, because I came to the forefront that PlayStation needed sales. It needed software sales because its own platform was not profitable enough for its own games. When I made those statements, when I actually ran the numbers and we looked at sales and we looked at exactly how PlayStation was, with hundreds of millions of consoles, was not converting heavily, not a single Xbox fan, not a single Xbox user actually provided a counter argument. I did not see a single piece of resistance. Instead, some of you seemed happy and relieved that even the Xbox players were going through the same thing, and their company needed to go on PC to validate Xbox's decision to go to PC at first. That's why it's humorous to me, and that's why I'm laughing, because to me, it reeks of some level of hypocrisy. I'll call it out. Sorry, if you think it's flippant and maybe the conversation is too much to hear, hey, I'm one of those people who I can basically try to understand. Perhaps, you hold something sacred and I look at it and I see human behavior all over the place and people acting like this is like some kind of sacred cow that cannot be talked about. I don't see it as that. Because the business is not really too concerned about this emotional attachment that I'm seeing here, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So call it flippant, call it what you want. Let the facts speak for themselves. Combating Xbox critics with just play on PC or PlayStation doesn't address the issues. Some, I do believe, people have with their third-party release. Okay, seeing how it would be ignorant to speak for everyone, I will speak for myself. Okay, good. As a player that mostly plays games on Xbox since the original, I personally don't give a flying fornication, if they release previously Xbox exclusive games on PlayStation or Switch. When I'm playing Assassin's Creed or Resident Evil, my enjoyment of the game doesn't flounder because I know other platforms have it. And I would feel the same for Gears or Halo. Halo on PlayStation? Cool. Can I still play it on Xbox? Yes. Then who cares? I don't play on Xbox because of exclusives. I play on it because I'm a console gamer and their ecosystem is better than the competition in my eyes. I agree. I've been saying this for almost a year. But I do have a small issue with it. A small amount of cash Sony makes off of Grounded and Indiana Jones will be used to Moneyhat games for me. Now that's a problem. I'm talking about games like Horizon or Spider-Man. I'm not talking about games like Horizon or Spider-Man. I'm talking about games like Silent Hill. Microsoft needs to be more proactive in keeping things like third-party exclusives from not happening. Yes, I know buying all of Bethesda to combat Starfield PS was major, Like, what more could I ask for? Okay. Now, here's the part that you may have a problem with it, but here's the thing. And I've said this before, and I hate to be the person that's saying it. This is not just about you. Okay? There are developers who are at machine games making Indiana Jones. And again, PlayStation pretty much gives us the blueprint. And I'm going to show it in this video again. Many of you, and I've said this before, remember what it cost PlayStation to make Marvel Spider-Man 2. $300+ million. Indiana Jones is a Disney Lucasfilm product. So its development cost would be anywhere close to that number. Maybe 100 million shy. Maybe less. But still, Machine Games has been churning out this game for many years. Development costs have been paid. Licensing fees have also been paid and such. And when Indiana Jones gets into the market to sell, Disney and Lucasfilms are going to require a cut at the end of the day. They're going to require a cut from every sale. The game is an expensive game, both on the front end and both on the back end. We're looking at the licensing of Spider-Man to be able to get this frame of reference. And I don't think Disney is going to treat Spider-Man. I don't think Lucasfilm is going to treat Indiana Jones differently from the way Marvel treated Spider-Man. So yes, maybe some of that money is going to go to Moneyhat Games, but what's worse is if that game doesn't sell well, Machine Games is in a financial deficit. Then they're going to go the way of Tango Works, God forbid. If to you, it's more important that Machine Games possibly face financial distress so that that money will not be used to Moneyhat Games, I can say, okay, maybe that's your opinion, but you can see how it's, in a sense, short-sighted because you've centered everything around you and the little problem that you have that's not considering a much bigger picture. That's all I'm saying in this conversation. The Xbox community is not considering the bigger picture. Simple. Look at Bungie. They were acquired for $3 billion. Their, little benchmarks were not met. Over time, very short period of time, what has PlayStation done to them? They've been gutted. They've lost staff. Some of them have been merged into PlayStation overall. Another team has also been merged just recently, actually, into the PlayStation development pipeline. So pretty much Bungie is no longer recognizable. If you want this to happen to Machine Games, then this is exactly what your, in a sense, your proposal might come to, because we know that Indiana Jones on the Xbox platform doesn't seem like, this is going to be the litmus test. This is going to be the litmus test. How many Xbox fans are going to buy Indiana Jones directly as an Xbox player? If we look at the Starfield numbers compared to PC carried Starfield. PC might again carry Indiana Jones. But Indiana Jones is not a game that would need, 8 million copies in sales. It's a game that would probably need even 12, 13, of which Starfield was having to brag about 13 million players, and that was overall. So the money has to flow in to cover a game like Indiana Jones. Starfield, you notice, is not yet going anywhere because the money needed to cover its development cost seemingly has already been achieved. This is where I think that moving games to other platforms might be expedient and also in some cases a comfort thing for Xbox. If Xbox sees that there's viability here, they'll leave the game on Xbox. If Xbox sees that the game is going to be too expensive and they need a source of cash flow, they'll move the game to other platforms, PlayStation included. Why? Because again, like I've said, the average console gamer is playing a huge list of live service games. With Call of Duty on the rise, Indiana Jones is already cannibalized. Even if they didn't even put Indiana Jones on Game Pass, Indiana Jones is just by nature cannibalized. This is why Avowed got moved to February. There's just nowhere to slot these games. And thankfully, Avowed is staying on the Xbox platform because it doesn't seem like it's not an expensive game compared to Indiana Jones. They're probably both expensive in development costs, but compared to Indiana Jones, it's a fee that Xbox can probably say we can break even and allow for the rest of the sales to go on and make profit. That's fine. So, again, this is a very important topic, and I really appreciate the comment that you put out. But you're calling it flippant. I'm calling it hypocrisy. That's what it is. This person says, TLDR, Microsoft release games to other platforms while those platforms make deals to keep games off of theirs. As a customer, doesn't feel great. You see, again, how you feel is very subjective to exactly what the reality is. And let me tell you something. Do you think that if, Xbox did not put games on PlayStation, do you think it's going to deter PlayStation from money-hatting any games anyways? It won't. So you are pretty much in an inevitable situation where whether or not the money goes to Xbox, it's going to happen. In fact, if you wanted to really be upset, start with the Call of Duty money that PlayStation gets right now. Start with it. PlayStation is going to be getting 20% of Call of Duty and 20% from microtransactions, and it's going to take that same money to go money hack games. So you need to be upset from there and say, well, Microsoft probably does not need to take Call of Duty over there. So you have to stay consistent. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Again, like, I'm not against the Xbox fan, but if I see something that I'm looking and saying this is just straight up console fanboy behavior, that's not considering the big picture, that's not looking at what the business proposition is, I will call it out. I don't care. Because the truth is the truth. It may hurt, whatever. But think about it. The reason Xbox is in this position today is because they were willing to be flexible around the market. If they were not flexible around the paradigms of the market, you wouldn't even be saying this. You won't be even saying this. You're saying this because they now have games. Remember, they didn't used to have games that were heavy hitters that could compel PlayStation to act differently or compel the market to think differently. They had games where their games were always downplayed. So think about it from that perspective. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.